Hello and welcome to the second episode of the SMSYG Got a New Script podcast. On this one here, we've got Sean Donnelly, Kevin Toner, and once again, unfortunately, Sean Henderson. How are we?
Aye, good. Fun. Oh, thanks very much for that introduction. I was the
That's
star of the show in the last podcast. I was just back for Belfast the weekend, so I'm still a bit tender. So this is good to get back into some pilgrimage stuff. But yeah,
Good to see where the fundraising money's gone. the big boss away at Ireland.
doing some scout missions.
Kev, how are you?
Alright, mate. Wee bit tired. I was away the weekend as well, but we'll power through it. Need to deal with you for an hour, so
Where were you, Kev? The weekend?
I'm on the grass. I was in America.
Sean, how about you?
I'm alright, mate. I was working at the weekend, don't get away at these two. Grafters need to graft, unfortunately, so
No, I wouldn't know anything about that.
nothing else for that. Tell me about it.
What about you, Finn?
I've been all good. I've been enjoying Long Lives as well.
See, you've been doing some more speeches again,
I have.
doing your rounds.
Who's pocketed up this time?
Good. Just take the parish about what we've done in Lourdes.
Are you going for the kill next week? Talk about Lisbon because you never shut up about it.
You're a right wee holy traveller, aren't you?
You could say so.
Or a wee do-gooder.
With a few quid to be made in the back end there.
I have to say, I had loads of messages after the first podcast with people about how much they enjoyed it and how much it kind of carried on the Lourdes journey for them. So well done, mate. It sounded really good.
Kev Toner shaking his head, but
I thought it was terrible.
I just can't believe it.
I
I
listened
kept
to-
going on a podcast.
I listened to it the way American. I've never wanted to play the so much in my life.
So you thought you'd go on the second one?
drag it up for the building.
no, we're pushing over 700 views, which is good for one week. I thought it wouldn't go that far, but it's went well.
Listen, we'll be
Big hitters.
doubling the numbers this time next week, and we'll be selling advertising and everything, so get in touch.
Back to January. So
Sean's wanting an advert on ITV. He's got to Dublin next year.
So why have we got these two ways that they fund?
so these two are some of our chefs that we've got. To clarify, they don't cook. I don't think they're very good at cooking.
My wife's in the back nodding her head.
So just to kind of get their point of view, because also last week we had two youth members on, they spoke about one of them being for the first time, but they thought it was like, and then Lewis said about his second time, what that was like. So you will give like a different point of view. You've obviously went more years and you've obviously done different aspects of it. If I need to talk about kind of what a chef is compared to what a youth group member is.
I think Kev, you'd be the best for that. You're
I've been
man
doing
of
it.
experience.
I've been doing it a bit longer, so it's mostly logistics, like on the ground when you're there. So it's organising transport of the sick, liaising with the French, different pilgrimages and that. You need to go to a meeting every day, which is a good excuse for a wee half pint sometimes. Go to a meeting every day at 1:30, and that's where you go and meet with the French. Or there's a representative for all the different pilgrimages at this meeting, and that's where they kind of that's when they hand out their big ticket items. So when you're doing like your processions and stuff like that, that's when you get allocated. Like, we need somebody to do this, we need X amount of people to do that. And generally over the years we've become quite good at getting those kind of roles. It's mostly, if you take, can I put a name on it, it's mostly logistics. Like, we'll liaise with the medical teams about what time folk are getting woken up, what time we need to leave to go certain places, and then our experience and the people that kind of went before us, we know how much time we need to give ourselves to get to a certain place. And that's it.
I think when you're talking about the French there, particularly it's all about relationships, really, isn't it? Because you built that up over a long time.
It's a thing that predates anybody around this table.
Yeah.
Like the kind of good name that we've got in Lourdes. Like, we spoke about it this year when I was a wee bit. The name that we get in Lourdes kind of predates us by a long time. Do you know what I mean? This group's been going for nearly 50 years, and you're instantly recognisable. Like, there's people come up to me in these meetings at 1:30. I see them once a year, but the minute I walk into a room, they remember us. you know what I mean? I don't know if it's for good or bad reasons, but it must be no bad because they keep, what do you call it? They keep coming back to us.
Well, you see that as well, Sean. See, as soon as you see the guys in the half one meetings, as soon as you see the kilts, like, oh, it goes hand in hand with, as you think, Kev, the reputation that's been built up for years gone by.
And as I say, it predates us by a long stretch. Like, my ma went to loads of youth group, you know what I mean? And you get back to all that, so it's nice that we're able to keep that going.
It's just as we said last week, just like as Kev was saying, it's almost 50 years of work built up. Do you know what I mean? I know it's all seems very new to the likes of yourself, and even yours, it's still like a short period of time in relative time.
I reckon for folk like us who've been going for a long time, probably Mark Woods as well, who's probably been going along. I was thinking about this when we come back. Mark Woods is probably the only person who was there in my first year that's still going.
I think he's 16, 17.
Aye. So it's daunting in a way because it's so high profile, but it's a challenge. Do you know what I mean? And it's exciting, and it's a different challenge every year because every new group you take with you will throw up new challenges and curveballs, like my pal will tell you. But I think they're getting no bad at reacting to them.
Aye. Like you mentioned, down with the kilts, like we could tell when we got there, you can't walk it in the street, you could get all eyes on you.
They were looking at you for something else, but
And I know how many, Sean, you've been going for quite a while now.
Aye, so I was a school leaver when I first started in 2017. I get involved in it. It was kind of a chance. My head of year, his sister, Claire Gallagher, was on the committee and they needed extra boys. So me and my mate Liam, we get picked for St Ninians. I think even though I've been coming since 2017, minus the COVID years, and then 2019, the last year before COVID, I never made either. I was in final year of my training, and I've had a kind of variety of different, I don't want to say roles, that sounds pure cringeworthy, but different jobs, and you get allocated different things. So I've kind of done the nursing shift where you help with the nursing team down in Archai, done the roadie shift last year, which is an experience. And this year I've done
some promotion.
That was my life as well.
roadie to chef, and as assistant chef. This year I've been fortunate enough to be asked to be the assistant chef, myself and Paul under Kev's watchful eye.
You laugh at?
Oh, it's a couple of folk were asking, like, oh, how's the chef role going? I said, do you know what, it's actually
Kev does that.
it's alright. It's no easy, but I says, folk are like, oh, what is it you do? And I says, I just do what Kev tells me. But that's everybody's job in Lords, so
You probably well placed to answer this one, Kev, because this is your second time as full chef, and you've done been part of the chef team like we've kind of created. But what is how would somebody stand out? And like over the last wee while, it's been a kind of somebody from the youth group that's stepped up to the chef role, which is actually a hospitality role. But what would kind of you'd be looking for in a youth group member, or just somebody within the pilgrimage to be like, oh, you'd be a suitable chef, or what do you think?
It's hard. So it's a hard one to answer because I still don't know why I got asked to do it the first time. And I did it under serious duress to Michael Cannon and Pelly, and I still don't forgive the two of them for it. So I think sometimes I get my years mixed up. So I started going to Lourdes in 2008. And I reckon it was either 2011 or 2012 where I was summoned to a conversation with Pelly in the solitude when we stayed this year after Mass in the morning. And he told me Pelly was the chef. Can't remember. Pelly was the chef that we all had when we were young, do you know what I mean? Chef for a long time, and he was very good at it. So there was a conversation that they were going to ask me to do it. So the way they work it is, you're a chef, you pick an assistant, you do it, you're assistant for 2 years, then in your transition from assistant to chef, you pick an assistant, and then so it's like a 2-year cycle. So Pelly wanted to mark my card that they were going to ask. He couldn't have been the chef at the time. He was marking my card that they were going to ask me, and I just says I'm not doing it. Don't want to do it. I was too young. enjoyed hanging about with my pals too much. Probably thought it was more of a job than what it was. But probably a wee bit, you're young, terrified, don't want to let anybody down. That was probably at the forefront of my mind. So he let me go for half an hour, and then I get re-summoned, and it was him and Big Michael Cannon. And it wasn't a, will you do it? It was a, you're doing it.
Yeah.
So that was fine. So that's how I ended up doing it. So since I've done it, it's been a natural progression for the boys that have done it after, like with me and after me. Like Paul Joe, PJ was mine. PJ, I would probably have said that when I get asked to do it, they should probably have asked PJ because he was a bit older.
I feel that.
But it just, what do you call it? It's just, that's how PJ just did a lane. There was different things. But then, so it was a natural progression to go from me to him to you, Sean. Do you know what I mean? And then probably COVID struck. And that probably drew a line in the sand, which is probably why I'm back doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's probably come back to me by accident.
I wouldn't
But-
say it. I think
No, I don't
downplaying
mean
yourself.
I don't mean it, but I think the natural progression would have been,
there's a lot of people left, didn't they?
I think it came back to me because of that, and I'm grateful for it because I love it, and I love going with my pals. I love showing the younger boys like Sean and Paul and that how to do it. As much as Paul will slag me for not letting him do it, but maybe if he just stopped doing things wrong. But no, I think a lot of it's there's a lot of moving parts. Everybody knows that, right? But it looks as if there's a lot of moving parts, but I don't think you know how many moving parts there are until you're doing it. And you're in the middle of doing something, and they'll send down an extra 4 bodies when they've told you they're sending 6 and they send 10, you're like, right, where are they going? But it's just, you overplayed your mind. We spoke about it this year. We overplayed it in my mind for a long, long time. This year's probably as calm a week on the ground as we've had.
I think like what you're saying as well, the kind of moving parts. Becoming an assistant chef, you probably don't appreciate that and all the stuff that does kind of go on behind the scenes when you're maybe doing something else or you've got a different role in the pilgrimage. And I just suppose a bit of an eye opener, and it's quite fluid. Things change, and you kind of just don't know the minute at times.
I mean, there's a bit where, and it probably ties in quite well to what we're saying about this group being nearly 50-year-old. I'm still, like, most of the stuff I do is the stuff that Pelly taught me how to do 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's kind of that's how it keeps going. It keeps, like, you take what he showed you how to do and put your own twist on it, and that's how and when I show Paul and Sean how to do things, they'll say, aye, that's a good idea, but I can do that, and it tweaks it. It's a wee bit,
It just evolves.
it's growing all the time.
I think go back to what I originally asked was about like how do you kind of spot somebody, and I think the reason I asked that
Wee
was
bit of leadership.
why
Wee bit of leadership. You probably don't want somebody that's
you've got
too
people,
in your face.
and you've got to have people like are willing to step forward. And I
Aye.
know you said, because I felt the same when I was asked, because I felt like there was at least 4 or 5 boys, you know, within the group, A, with more experience, and B, just better placed to do it, or older, as you said, Kev. But I suppose it comes down to that somebody else has seen something in yourself that you're no seeing. Do you know
I
what
mean,
I mean?
there's also a bit where it's, you need to take it as a compliment.
Aye. But also, like, take the bull by the horn and say, well, sometimes you need to step forward and
And
be
see
your leader.
if you're going to go, and you get asked to, see if you're going to go and say no, what's the point in going?
Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
Sing it in the valleys, shout it from the mountain tops. Jesus came to save us, and the saving never stops. He is King of Kings, and new life he brings. Sing it in the valleys, shout it from the mountain tops. Whoa, shout it from the mountain tops.
So come back to the fact we're talking about more about the week in general. So Sean, you kind of started off a bit earlier than the rest of the group in the morning travel.
Aye, so myself, me, Kev and Paul, were travelling on the Archdiocese flight with the pilgrims. So that was on the Friday morning. Meet at Glasgow Airport, kind of get everybody checked in. Obviously the kind of nursing team and the hospitality there, that's their bag. They've been doing that for a long, long time. This was my first time not on a youth group flight. To be honest, you're just helping out, making sure people checked in and then get through security, because it's quite staggered. Aye, and then it's pretty much the same when they be back. although it was only Paul and I this time, you're kind of just dealing with outsized luggage, crates, all that sort of stuff. And then once it's through, once all that's done, you can kind of just get through security and
It's the biggest pest in it.
you can kind of, I don't want to say relax, but you're like, thank God that's done.
We need to go for meetings in Glasgow Airport before you go and all that.
Aye.
But see, to be fair, I say this every year, I can't speak highly enough of the lasses at work in Glasgow Airport. They're brilliant.
It's just, I said, see the thing, you know yourself, it's like going abroad and all that travelling, that's the worst part about it. And I suppose it's probably just amplified a wee bit because you've got about like 30 odd crates full of stuff that needs to get through a different gate. And
I think the biggest challenge with that is the folk at Glasgow Airport understanding, or the message getting through to the folk that are on shift that day. Because you do, as you say, you do plan it with the Glasgow Airport, but then people change for year on year as well, and then you
to be fair, it kind of sets the tone for the week.
Yeah.
Because I went for a meeting in Glasgow Airport maybe a week before we went. Everything was fine. The two lassies were so helpful, and then you turn up on the day
your man
on
outside
the flight, and you're like, the guy's like, this isn't get checked in here. I'm like,
as we know, man.
but as again, just adapt, and the guy ended up being helpful, whether it been against his better nature or not. But it is what it is.
And then what's it like on the other side when you arrive? Because obviously you arrive.
When you arrive, it's a wee bit of carnage. Because so what happens is they let a kind of team of 10 folk off the plane first, because you need to remember these people are not ambulant, so they let a kind of I don't know the best way to say it. There's a wee team,
advanced team,
and an advanced party. They used to call it
advanced
calm
party,
yourself. So part of the advanced party, you go off, you get through passport control, and so Lourdes Airport's tiny. There's only like 3 baggage carousels, but it is mental. And it's also kind of marrow in this has changed a wee bit. Now I've a 5-year-old coming with me because she thinks it's all great fun, and we're all running about with the sweat lashing off us, pulling cases and wheelchairs off of baggage carousels.
And it's
as I say,
we've
got a wee system. We've got a wee system that's kind of worked well. Like we put different colours on different hotels. Like if a bag's going to X hotel, let's get that colour. So buy, and then
I think again, like
that's probably the most stressful bit. Lourdes Airport's probably the most stressful bit for me on the travel day. I don't find Glasgow Airport. I don't let Glasgow Airport stress me out as much as it used to.
I suppose if you know what's to come.
That's his experience, isn't it?
All it could take is in Lourdes, Friday's a big changeover day, so you'll notice that it's Friday to Friday, and it's Friday to Friday every year. So all it takes is for you to be in Lourdes Airport at the same time as a massive Italian pilgrimage, or somebody from Malta, and it's like, do you know what I mean? Who are much bigger than we are, and it can get a bit feisty. But generally it's alright.
I think like even when, again, just going back to relationships, like with the nurses in hospitality, you've known them for years as well, so like, that helps when you're in a situation of carnage and you can just, turn to the folk you know, do you know what I mean?
I could really look like, I'm the last one, the flight we were in seemed like a private jet.
That's because we took all your stuff. I'm running about in music stands now.
And then when we're getting there, we're running about in rain, trolleys with one wheel on it, trying to get it up a hill.
And you also need to remember that, like, see at the other end, you also need to remember it's still an international airport, and there's security measures in place that we just totally disregard every single year. Like there's the exit door, you're no meant as it says in the tin, it's an exit door, but we just block it open and we just come back through. And I think like they used to argue is, I think they'll just give up the ghost when it comes to the airport.
But when you're doing the kind of shuttles and you're back and forth about 20 times, what option have you got?
No. And to be fair, it's got a bit easier over the years because it used to be very pressure about it, rightly so. I say we don't really take it with respect that it deserves, do you know what I mean? But no, that's probably, as I say, that's probably the hardest. That's probably the hardest bit of Maddie. That's the hardest bit of the travel day for me, aye.
And then kind of the rest of that day we spoke, we arrived, and it's a bit of kind of chill day. It's the Saturday morning, it really hit me.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. What's up? think you were at the airport for about 4 to 5 in the morning. You enjoy
I
your long
was at the airport too.
As just last spot, you just wanted to be there. Oh, look at me, I'm the big boss.
Oh no, he dropped me off. He picked me up, dropped me off.
I'll have a bad word said about him.
Picked me up, dropped me off.
Because we arrived at what, 7 at night? 7 p.m-ish?
Yeah, we were a bit different. That's why, like, you know, it's always a shift for the chefs because sometimes it's usually 3 flights to go out and it can be a mixture of Glasgow and Edinburgh and a mixture of times and all the rest of it. So, I know, but always the chefs and the assistant programs are on the first one, or the ones that need most assistance on the first one, just so they're not like hanging about the airports or, you know, waiting a bit to get to the airport and things like that. So, as I say, unless there's any delays, it's always the first one to go out. But that's what makes their job harder usually because they're having to do all the heavy lifting as such. So, and that's why we try and make sure there's as many people can help you as possible at each end. So,
And then they kind of get to the hotel, and I think, is that easy enough for them? Do you kind of go in the hospitality team, take over there, or do you find that?
There's 3 or 4 different hotels, and you get the San Free to add into that as well. So,
I was going to say about the bands, as you kind of mentioned, when you like, cases and all that are kind of organised, and they kind of go in they go on the bus that's going to that hotel. That's the kind of easy part. Then at that point, I think it was, or certainly my experience this year, was just because it's narrow streets, big coaches.
The problem is because there's 4 or 5 hotels. There's only 3 of us.
Mm-hmm.
We can't. Do you know what I mean? It does.
I think that could be quite tricky, but
what you need to remember as well is that there's able-bodied folk this flight as well that can lift it in case it's no.
Also, like if it's well labelled, you know, nowhere's far away from each other, but it does sometimes there's a wee bit of running about. But usually by when you're in the actual worlds after a couple of hours, everybody's settled in their room, and you know everybody's happy enough, and then in time for like whenever the first mass is going to be, and then the youth group arrive or the rest of the other flights, whatever. So.
Aye. Take it an hour or 2 off before we arrive, and then start the question.
Mate, I was at that meeting at 1:30. I don't know if you're talking about an hour or 2 half.
So kind of once you arrive, your main shifts are coming up. It's the suitcase and stuff.
Aye, so as I say, what we would generally do is head to the San Free because that's the kind of pressing priority. And just the way it worked out this year, as I kind of alluded to earlier on, there's a meeting every day at 1:30. So because your kind of week starts on a Saturday, we need to have a presence at that just so we know we're placed, what we're doing. Because, as I say, a lot of things can change on the ground when you're there. So sometimes there's changes of venue, X, Y, and Z. So this year we did that. We did the cases, the boys finished off, and I went down to show face at this meeting just to see what the script was for Saturday, so that everything was all right for you arriving, Finn. just to make sure that the pan leaves in for you.
I did a good job. I quite enjoyed
I'm glad.
the hotel. I think the whole thing for me personally, I'm one of these people when you go, you spend the whole flight thinking what's the hotel going to be like, but you're like just thinking.
That's what you're thinking about going to for that reason, mate.
Think about it.
One of the things
I don't know if
in my head.
I don't know if anybody ever told you, mate, but it's not about you.
A big double bed. Is that what you were walking in?
I was thinking big double bed, ensuite. At least a sink in the bathroom. A sink in the bathroom instead of 2 different rooms.
Finn was expecting a shower.
He's just came back from Malawi.
He's listed about he's using the flight. How's the hotel? What's the bar going to be like? Oh, I've heard there's a grotto.
No, I thought the hotel was nice.
So
Penthouse.
I reckon by the time we did that, they meetings 40 minutes max. So we kind of tied. By the time I came back up, the boys had kind of finished what they were doing. And that was kind of us. Like, my wife was good enough to unpack the case, so we managed to get for a pint and went for lunch. Like that was kind of us for that. That was kind of us for that day. And we were just waiting to use arriving.
Aye.
I think as well, like just like when if somebody's going to be like the sound of this or in the future, it's not like one of those roles that would take you away from the pilgrimage or take you away from the youth group necessarily, because
I've done it for a long time, and
I think coming from as youth group guys,
I'll always look at this. So see this role, I will always look at this role from a group perspective. it's maybe not the right way to do it, but I feel it's going to serve me well over my time doing it. I think the people that did it, that's what they wanted, or they wouldn't have asked us to do it.
Yeah.
Like it can't be a surprise to these people that that's how we see our week. We see it through the.
Even
youth group perspective.
And you've got to liaise with the three.
No, absolutely,
groups anyway.
absolutely. And we've got a better working relationship with the three groups now than we did when I started. Do you know what I mean? It's really good. I can't speak highly enough of the kind of there's kind of 3 parts to the week, and I can't speak highly enough about the other 2. But I don't think it can come as a separate. Like, so for people doing it after us, it certainly wouldn't take away from being a part of the group.
Because it wasn't always like that, was it? It
No,
was,
no.
it was a hospitality role.
Absolutely.
So see, when you talk about the whole thing, you kind of feel the part of the group. I think it's good to kind of move into what you thought of the trip in general. Good kind of, because obviously the last one we spoke about what happened during the week, and they came up with different kind of memories and stuff. So it's something to use throughout the week.
I mean, I think in general, it's different for me now than when it was 10 years ago, because you're going, like, you're looking after a 5-year-old, and Sadge was looking after me. So, but it's special in a different way. It's probably special in a nicer, do you know what I mean? It's nice that you can share it with your family.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I know me and Sean are kind of similar that way, but you and Paul and all that are at kind of different stages. Do you know what I mean? But we've been at that stage as well, and it's brilliant with a laugh, with a carry on. You can still have fun if I carry on. Like, the plan was holiday for us. Spent more time with Sean than I did my wife.
I just thought that, Sean, do you have any, not highlights, but just and stuff into the other week?
I probably couldn't pinpoint one thing. I think it's one of the ones, like when you talk about going towards, it's like, it's only a week. I mean, there's the 51 weeks of the year in Glasgow, and there's hundreds of highlights, and I think for me, when you get there, it's just good to be there, and just that first day when you see everybody lined up, they've got the nurses' dresses on, the sashes on, we've got our kilts. It's just, you're like, we're here, and this is what all the hard work throughout the year is about. And I think that, and then I was honoured to be selected to carry the flambe. Is that how you pronounce it? Flambeau. Flambe. That's when you lights. That's a chef term. A real chef. So I was carrying the Glasgow sign, and when you come round the kind of corner just at St Michael's Gate, and you see the procession behind you, it's kind of breathtaking. You take it back a wee bit, and as I say, seeing everybody in their tartan, seeing the Glasgow banner, it was nice.
Yeah, fan of the kilt, because it's one the last one saying it does look good, but you can't admit how much hip in the backside.
Absolutely not. I'm a fan of the kilt. Kilts are the way to go. Like we say, you get spotted a mile away. People love it. They want a photo. Celebrity for a week.
As the week goes on, I think it's a bit more difficult.
The best part of the day is getting the socks. I don't mind the kilt. It's the socks that kill me.
But I don't think it's. In fact, I think it's undeniable. If it wasn't for that, you could be as good as you want, but you're not getting the high profile stuff that we get if you're not this like.
We look immaculate.
I think we spoke about it as well when we came back. Like, one of Blues is like going to a different universe. There's like literally, it seems quite simple to say there's nowhere else like it, but me and Sean were talking about the day after we come back. When you come back for holiday, you get that feeling. It's kind of, when you're back into your own house, it's like being somewhere you've never been before for a couple of days.
Right.
It's kind of hard to get back in the swing of things, and even though you enjoy being home, but come back for Lords is like come back for nowhere else.
Aye.
I feel like
it's like coming back from another planet.
Aye, it's like you're trying to adjust to real life again.
Because I think we just don't come back.
You and I were saying, and then I know last week's guest, James Aitken, we were saying like it's not like a holiday in the sense where when you're on holiday, you still think about back home, like you're maybe phoning your man, dad, or other relatives and stuff like that. At times in Lourdes, it's just Lourdes 24/7 for that week, and for that reason, when you do come back, it's just like the doom. It's pure, it's like shell shock.
Part of it didn't hit me was the fact that I didn't realise even like a 10-minute walk to the shop was different because in Lourdes everything's like 2 minutes away from you.
Aye.
Yeah.
So even walking across a bigger road to get to Aldi, I thought, God, I'm no used to this because the shop's usually your neighbour.
Is that honestly what you took away for your week?
7 days I
He's
thought.
not coming out.
You've got club together and got you a Big Mac and friends.
I think that's the first thing I had when I come back at McDonald's. It was Uncle One right
That's
by
the first
the-
thing I had back as well.
Get a Chinese, that's a go-to.
Yeah, Kev.
Back tapas, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Show off.
I see the thing. I mean, the last thing we can talk about is the doom. I think that's when you come back, it does hit you. I mean, I said in the last one, waking up at like a later time than 6 o'clock. It felt weird. It did feel weird till you come back and you think, what am I actually meant to do? I didn't-
Get a year, mate.
I
Once you've
think,
got a job and you need to get up.
Traditionally, and you'll be able to speak about this as well, lads, and Kev, you will remember it even with, with the old guard. That's why we had the reunion the day after we come back, because we're just craving each other again and being together as that big group. And
I mean,
it's been
I
in
don't-
different places.
I don't know if you remember this, but even like years ago when I started going, it used to be back the Sunday,
Hmm.
out on the Monday night, and then everybody used to go for something to eat the Tuesday as well.
Yeah.
Like it used to, it was like an Irish wedding. It used to go for days.
I know where they get jobs.
Bang, we kind of went over here, kind of what the job was as chefs, we went about over the week and stuff like that. Right, so that's us at the end of this podcast. I'd like to thank you guys for coming on. By an update, we have June 2nd, so you can now like, comment, and subscribe. So get to doing that. We've also, if you like any music we've got on this, we've got our Spotify playlist, just thanking SMSYG
On the journey.
on the journey. So if you're ever looking to build out a random hymn, that's the best place to go for that. But good to see you guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks very much, Finn. Enjoyed it again.
Aye, thanks very much, mate. All the best with the plans for future episodes.
Aye, good to see you, lads.
Right.
Thanks for coming along your house, Kev.
Aye.
Aye, thanks for your hospitality.
I hope you don't remember where it is.
Right. Cheers.